It was not so much on whether he agreed with Dad's way of bringing up or handling his little brother, but rather on his own feelings of rejection because of Dad's response to his brother's return. He does not take it very well. And if we're honest, very few of us would. Most of us are at our very worst under similar circumstances. It's feeling rightly or wrongly rejected, and it's one of the most devastating sets of feelings that human beings sustain. And such feelings are always based upon outward comparisons rather than an understanding of inner worth. The longer I live, the more important forgiveness, both self-forgiveness and the forgiveness of others, becomes to my spiritual and emotional health. As we accept the pain in our lives, becoming open and honest about what we are feeling and experiencing, forgiveness can be the primary vehicle leading to the healing of our souls. I like what someone said about self-forgiveness. I forget from whom I heard this. The words are these: true self-forgiveness begins when we finally give up on having a different past. True self-forgiveness begins when we finally give up on having a different past. When our feelings of anger are wrapped in a transference of responsibility for our lot in life, then our souls will be harmed. As Melody Beatty has written in her book, The Language of Letting Go, real power comes when we stop holding others responsible for our pain and we take responsibility for our feelings. The older brother was hurt, to be sure. But through the hurt and pain of those feelings, his father was modeling a new ethic of love if he could only see it. In this new ethic resides the spiritual truth that there are no more meaningful words in the language than "I am sorry, you are forgiven." Finally, a third spiritual lesson to be found in the story has to do with developing an attitude of gratitude. And I know that by using those words I sound a little bit like Robert Schuller, for which I'm sorry. But we had to celebrate and rejoice, says the father, because this brother of yours was dead and has come to life. He was lost and is found. Wow. What a moment to celebrate and be grateful. My mentor, Eldon Trueblood, would say that gratitude is the one thing in life that cannot be overdone. In his 82nd year, he wrote a little book titled Essays in Gratitude, in which he writes, "One of the noblest words in our language is grace, defined as unearned blessing. We live by grace far more than by anything else. Accordingly, I find that one thing which I want to put into practice in my own life is the conscious and deliberate habit of finding somebody to thank. The person to thank may be the driver of the bus, the teller at the bank window, someone within the fellowship at church, the clerk in the grocery store, or it may be any one of those who helped the younger brother find his way home. In this fashion, gratitude can become a way of life. Be thankful in all things, writes the author of Colossians. Easy to say, difficult to do. It is especially difficult when the one whose homecoming you were asked to celebrate and thank God for makes you feel rejected. Here again, as with forgiveness, comparison gets in the way of gratitude. Celebrating the lost younger brother's return had absolutely nothing to do or say about the older brother's life. But there are a lot of us who have trouble believing that it can or should be that way. We feel discounted, cheated, rejected in some measure every time someone is allowed back into life without having to crawl, to cringe, to suffer as much for his or her sin as we believe we have suffered and been deprived in order to be righteous. And for a contemporary example, listen in the next few years to the debate on immigration in this country. As the father in the story tries to point out, this celebration takes nothing away from the elder brother, from the one who is here legally. Because of his feelings of rejection, however, and his continuing to compare his life with his younger brother, the elder brother cannot join in the celebration of gratitude. A final word. And this lesson from the parable weaves its way through our trilogy. We would all be better off spiritually if we learned how to lighten up and party more. To paraphrase Harold Kushner, we will be held accountable for all of the good times that we missed. As one who loves parties, I like that. And I can only hope that the older brother learned the spiritual truth that we are not only to have life, but we're to have it abundantly. Parties help to make for abundant living. The paradox of pilgrimage, the importance of true forgiveness, developing an attitude of gratitude, all spiritual lessons